I want to record it. So I might just start over real quick since I wasn't recording that part, and to show everybody the speaker view and the um, grid, the speaker view or the gallery view. So you click on the little squares at the top right to do that. You can turn your microphone on and off down at the bottom left, and you can turn your camera on and off down at the bottom left, or your picture. So it shows an icon of you, or if you have a picture in with Zoom, it'll show that. And then you can go to the chat like I showed you. When I'm recording with Zoom, it will not show the chat itself, I don't think, but any case, let's move on here. So what I'm going to do is do a screen share. And feel free, if anybody, since it is a smaller group, you can ask questions pretty much at any time by clicking on the microphone at the bottom left. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share and share my screen to my second screen. And I'm going to show a presentation. So one of the things you can do with Zoom is show presentations. So let me do that. A PowerPoint, or in this case, for me, it's a keynote. So I'm actually playing a presentation on the second screen now. And I'm just thinking for a second, sorry. So the question is, what do you use Zoom for? So here we are doing a Zoom meeting. You can have a Zoom party, and that's what I showed you a little bit earlier. When you go to the gallery view and you can have up to 25 people showing on the screen at once, we can wave to each other and kind of have a Zoom party in that type of sense. But the business type of sense would be that you can do a web presentation, like you're having a home presentation. You might have 5 people over at your home in your living room and do a presentation for ASEA. You can do a similar thing over the internet with 4 or 5 people by having a Zoom home party. And some people actually could, do Zooms of their home party and bring in other people to their live meeting. You can do a presentation with your prospect. Now, when we talk about a coffee shop where you go and meet your friend at the coffee shop and present ASEA to them, you can do that now via the internet, one-on-one, basically. You can present the tool. So you might be presenting Alan's AmazingMolecules.com. You could actually play it for them while they're on the Zoom with you. The reason that's nice is because it's going to be a short thing that they're watching because they're right there with you. You have a better connection because even when you're watching the presentation, you can still see the picture of each other. So there's a little bit more of a personal connection as opposed to just sending them to AmazingMolecules.com to watch the site on their own. And thirdly is you can answer their questions right away in real time, which is always a nice feature, again, compared to having them watch it on their own. The Zoom can replace a 3-way call. If you don't know what 3-way means, that essentially is you talking to your prospect, and you might be newer to the business. Well, you would say you are newer in the business, and you 3-way in your upline or someone, your upline mentor, and they help you with the conversation because they're more experienced. So you can actually do that on a Zoom, and it works really, really well. And I forgot to mention, if this writing is going off your screen, if it's too big for your screen, you can go to the top of your screen, and you'll see a green bar, and up there somewhere you'll see More. I believe it's under More. You might have to bring the mouse up to the top of the screen near the green bar, and you can click on Fit to Screen, and that will fit the words to your screen. So the other thing is you can do mentoring and training for your people as your group gets bigger. which is exactly what we're doing right now. So you can do presentations. So again, that's what I'm doing right now. You can do a PowerPoint or Keynote, full screen with all the transitions and animations. So there you go, nice little animation there, transition. So what I like to say, though, is for people who aren't so informed or so up to speed with the computers, is not to stress about all the high-tech stuff, because you can still just use the phone and use the basic ideas of the Zoom to get along. You don't have to do, all the highest tech stuff as far as if it's not in your comfort zone. Of course, over time you learn it, and then as you learn it, you can do it more and more. But the point is, you're not going to lose out on everything if you're not able to do all this right away. You can still use the phone. You can still use the point people to the links, all the normal stuff. So what I'm going to do is go through some of these things, how people join Zoom meetings to get familiar with that, and how to start and host a meeting, and then we're going to go into getting around in Zoom, getting familiar with the Zoom ID meetings and turning the camera mic on and off and managing participants and stuff and recording, and the tools like the annotate and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the end of that little presentation I did, my webinar. And what I'm going to do is go to the pre-recorded video. At this point, let me ask if anybody has any questions. I'm going to stop sharing. We have about 10 people on. Anybody have any quick questions before we move on? No? All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to go back to screen share. Is that Joan?
Yeah. What is the best way to set up a Zoom meeting and invite people?
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit here now, coming up.
Thank you.
Surely. So good. Yeah, that's it. Mute yourself. Very good. So I'm going to go to screen share again, and I'm going to actually play a little video because let me think about how to say this. Because when I'm recording with Zoom, and Zoom doesn't record some of the things inside of Zoom, so basically I need a pre-recorded video to make this work. So I'm going to bring this over here, but we're going to do how people join Zoom meetings, which I think should answer Joan's questions. I got how to join. So I'm going to bring over a video, and this is actually pre-recorded, so I'm just going to let it play and step back. And let me know if you can't hear good enough. Okay, we're going to do another little pre-recorded clip here to show you the ways to sign into Zoom. So this is assuming you already have Zoom downloaded onto your computer, and here it is up here, the Zoom icon. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. So one way to sign into Zoom is through the Zoom application. And just try that. This is once you get it downloaded. Actually, let me start the other way. The first way to sign into Zoom is through the internet, because when you first start, you don't even have an application on your computer because you haven't downloaded it yet. So if I go into Zoom, zoom.us, or I click on a link that someone sent me to join a Zoom conference, the startup thing that's going to show is this here screen. Let me make this screen bigger. Let's see the plus key. There it is. So pretend I have never joined a Zoom conference yet. What I can do basically is click join a meeting, or I can sign into my ID if I'm already part of Zoom. So basically here it is. I put in my meeting ID number, whichever it is, the number that they gave me. And I'm not sure. I don't have a number at the top of my head to do. And then I click join. And that's going to take me right into an existing meeting that someone else has set up. Really, the only other choice is to sign in. So a person does not have to be registered with Zoom in order to use Zoom. All they have to do is have the application. If they don't have the application, the very, very first time, of course, that they try to join Zoom, say through this method, and they put in a meeting ID and click join, the very first time it's going to have them download the application, of course. Otherwise, as you know, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But once you have the application, you just put in a meeting ID number and click join. It'll take you right into that meeting that someone else is having, that someone else is hosting. You at this point have not really given your information to Zoom. You're not registered with Zoom. All you're doing is using the Zoom application. But in order to host a meeting, or you have to give them some information, and to host a free meeting initially up to 25 people, and then of course you can sign in. So that's one way to join a Zoom meeting. The second way to join a Zoom meeting is once you have Zoom downloaded onto your desktop, you click on the Zoom application, and basically you have the choice again of either signing in or joining the meeting. And the same thing's going to happen if I click join a meeting. It's going to ask for the meeting ID. So I just wanted to show you briefly how things look when you're joining a meeting. All this wouldn't show if I'm actually in the Zoom meeting. Of course, I can't show you this, so that's why I wanted to pre-record it. Okay, so that's one movie. So hopefully that helps, Joan. Did that help? Okay. And let me go to the second movie now. It's how you start and host a meeting. So the first one was kind of how people join you, and the second one is how you make it happen. So let me make this one start. Again, this is all pre-recorded. Okay, so I'm recording I'm pre-recording a little presentation here because when you open a Zoom application while you're doing a Zoom meeting, the application looks different. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But initially, when you download the application and open the package or execute the program to get it started, the Zoom will put the Zoom icon on your desktop. But I took the icon from my desktop and put it down into my dock. So here it is. This is what it looks like. It's going to look like this blue little camera. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and open the program, open the application. I have my username or email it is, and password already into it, so it automatically logs me in. But it'll ask you to log in initially. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you this real briefly. This application, the Zoom application, looks different when you're actually in the middle of a Zoom conference. So that's why I'm recording it, so you can see what it looks like when you first open it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Start with Video. And it's going to start a Zoom conference. And I do not, at this point, have this here checked to automatically join the Zoom conference with my microphone and speaker running. So therefore, it has this green thing up here I have to click to actually get the to have me be live, essentially. But if I check that, when I join a conference, it's going to make me be live right away. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and now I'm live on my conference. And what I want to point out here at this point is the Zoom ID. And you can see that it ends in 370. So I'm just doing this to illustrate a point. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. And want to show you something here, because the when I start a Zoom conference initially, when you first get the program, it's going to open up a new Zoom ID, a new conference meeting, conference number every time, because my base conference, I'll show you what my base conference looks like. I'm going to click on meetings down here. My base conference is 3270, ends in 3270, not 149 or whatever that other meeting was. So this is my, you could call it my base, my home meeting ID. And the Zoom calls it your personal meeting ID. It's going to stay the same. You can keep that same ID from now till whenever. You can change it also if you have the paid version. But this is pre-assigned to you, and it's going to stay that way. Now, every time I click join, it's going to come up with a new meeting ID, though, or not join, start a meeting. So what I can do is click this button here to always use the PMI, which is a personal meeting ID, for instant meetings on this computer. So now, when I click start meeting, it's going to take me right into my personal meeting instead of generating a new meeting every time. So this is important to know. The way we did it, before we understood this, the way we did this is we would always click on join a meeting. And when you click on join a meeting, it asks you to put in the meeting ID. So for me, I know my personal ID is that number there, and I could click join, and that would get me into my meeting. But that's kind of a roundabout way of doing it. It's much easier to click on meetings down here and always use your PMI, your personal meeting ID. So that's what I wanted to show you here. You go back to home. While I'm the other thing is to start without video. I don't know if I said that earlier, but we basically don't use that because who wants to do a Zoom meeting without video? That's kind of silly. So that's what I wanted to show you here on this pre-recorded thing, because these items don't show when we're in a Zoom meeting. Okay, so that's the end. Joan might have a question. Let me just say one quick thing before you go, Joan. I'm going to mute you again for a second. What I didn't show in the pre-recorded video is a schedule. When you click on schedule, and this is a video, so I can't really click on it right now, but basically it just brings up something that you can schedule a meeting for whatever date. But once you schedule a meeting, once you have a meeting, I mean, that you could actually reuse the same meeting ID. So the schedule doesn't really mean anything. It's not like you're scheduling it for a one-time occurrence. What it means is it actually generates a little thing that you can automatically put it into your calendar, into your iCalendar. And schedule is the same as just creating a new meeting. It gives you a new meeting ID, and it creates an iCalendar thing or a Google Calendar thing. You can bring it right into your calendar with, plus something you can send to your people, an email you can send to your people saying, join me at this date, for your scheduled meeting. So I don't know if that made sense. Okay, so did you have a question, Joan? You had your mic off. Oh, hold on. Let me turn you back on. I turned you off for a second. There you
And
are.
my question is, you can get a personal ID even if you're not a paid member, that's correct?
Yeah. So as soon as you sign up, see right now, I don't know if you probably didn't sign in yet, sign up.
I, I, I am a member and I'm not a paid member, but I do call, but I haven't had to go and do the scheduling or inviting at this point because I get a new ID number. I was trying to find out how to have the same ID number.
Yeah. So in order to do that, though, you have to not just download the application, but you have to sign up. Do the sign up on the website.
And can you still do it for free or do you have to be a paid? Okay.
Yeah. So
I
you can
have
sign
signed
up.
up.
Let me mute you for a second because you're kind of noisy when you're on. Not you. There's background noise or something. But the when you so there's two levels. You can have the application and just use it, and no problem. They don't even know who you are. You're just using it. And the second level is actually three levels. The second level is you sign into them. You have to give them your name and email. Then you can have your own PM personal meeting ID and stuff like that. The third level is you pay for it, and that comes when you want more than 25 people at once, or there's some other features, but most people don't need to pay for it. So there you go. I just unmuted. Is that
Middle one.
say it again?
I'm on the middle one. So my name comes up. So I just have to figure out how to get a one-time ID number. Because right now I schedule a meeting, so I have a new number every time, which I don't need, obviously.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. I'd have to. You could call later, one on one, or you can't see it when you're in the Zoom meeting. You have to, like I showed you, you have to be out of the Zoom meeting to actually see that stuff. So go and click on the meeting little. Here, let me go back to screen share. So when you're out of the meeting, you're going to see this. I'm going to do an annotate here. You're going to see this Zoom window icon. I mean the Zoom application. If you should have this down here. That's where you need to go to see if you have your personal meeting ID, the little meeting thing. And I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you have to be signed in with them in order to do that, I'm sure. So that might not show unless you're joined as a member. Maybe that's how it works. I'm not sure. Okay, so any other questions? Let me look at my notes here to see. It's about, we try to keep this to 30 minutes. Tools, record, manage participants. I just want to make sure I'm covering all the things. So another feature, I did have one more recording to show you. Let me show you that one. But another feature that I can't show you again, but you can record these webinars. And that's what I do. And I actually put them on our website, the A-Team support. Let me just show you real quickly. And they're available basically as an archive. And I'm recording this one. If you go to training, A-Team support, go to training and startup trainings. You'll see these Zoom recordings right here. So I'm updating this WhyZoom one right now. I'll replace it with today's. So there is one more recording I wanted to show you though. I just did this about the annotates and things like that. Let me bring this over, make it bigger. And I just did this right before the meeting, so it kind of was rushed, but I think it'll work. Let's give it a shot here. So again, these are features you can't see unless, well, I have to pre-record it to show it. Maybe it didn't work. The audio didn't work. So I'm going to talk while it's going, but when you're doing, you can go up to the green bar, and you can see me now doing that, I think, in the movie, and I click on annotate. And when you click on annotate, it brings up a little window. You get to choose the type of thing you want to annotate with. You can do either drawings, and I'm going to do a squiggly line drawing. And what I did is I put up a white notepad behind on my screen so I can have a clearer screen. And I can do my circles and charts, and I can actually go into a web browser into someone's back, say a downline's back office, and I can bring their binary graphical tree up, and we can like be pointing with arrows and things like that when I draw, pointing out people and stuff like that. So, and there's other features you can choose when you draw. You can clear the whole screen by hitting the trash. You can do an eraser and erase certain things. You can use a spotlight, which highlights things. The mouse turns me back to being able to use my mouse like normal. So I typed in some text there on my text edit. I'm going to make it bigger. And I didn't spell it right, but so I'm going to get like the spotlight. And you can be highlighting like text inside. If the whole page is text, you can be highlighting text with the spotlight, or you can be putting arrows in there with this arrow feature. So there's different things you can do to highlight things. You can change colors, clear the drawing, et cetera, et cetera. So is that the end of my little movie? Yeah. So that shows a little bit of the features that show up at the top. There's other features that show up that I can actually that's one thing I didn't show, is bring up manage participants. And that's how, when I do that, if I'm the host, I can bring up manage participants. And that's how I can mute and unmute individual people if needed, or mute everybody. I can mute everybody all at once. And again, you can't see all that because, I have to pre-record it. So, okay, so that's basically my presentation. I kind of rambled it all in 30 minutes. Zoom is a pretty cool, let me end by saying I'm not a, Zoom is, I'm not a member of Zoom as far as a networking company or something like that. But what we have done is we've used many, many different Zoom web conferences. We've used Adobe Webinar. We're talking, on the order of $500 a year, or $600 a year. Zoom is actually a professional based. It's designed for businesses. And again, it's about the same price as the Adobe Webinar when you do the paid version. Well, we're doing it for up to 100 people. There's a lower paid version if you want to just have like the 25 people or more, between 25. So in any case, the reason we're using it, I mean, you could do other free ones like Google Hangouts, and there's other free ones, but this one really does work the best of all the ones we've seen. So that's why we like it and why we recommend it. So, okay, any questions before we hang up here?
Bob, thank you very much for sharing the time and your expertise. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's helpful.
Have a great holiday weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, all you guys. Enjoy your weekends too.
Bob, this is Hugh. I got a question regarding your PowerPoint presentation. When you do a PowerPoint presentation, do you actually do it in the slideshow presentation, or just leave it in the working mode and just click through the slides that way?
Yeah, see, and that's a nice feature about this webinar, because you can actually do the full-blown presentation. I'm actually doing it in the slideshow mode, yeah. And it's able to see it and show it. So it works good. If you do have a window version, Keynote, Apple doesn't do that. They don't play it in the windows. but I think the Microsoft version, PowerPoint, does allow you to do it in a window. So you can do it either way, full screen or not.
Great. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions?
How hard is it to manipulate or go
Are
back
you
on
talking,
the
Nancy?
slide?
I can't hear you.
Oh,
Your microphone's off.
yeah. How about now? No?
I can't hear you.
She was asking.
So you could do a chat if you want, if it's easy to type at the bottom.
Oh.
I'm
Or
not
did
sure
you
why
hear
your
me?
microphone's not on.
Okay. Is that coming up?
Anybody else have a question while Nancy's typing? Maybe
I can hear her.
there's actually some things we could try if you wanted to. Actually, maybe we should do that, Nancy. You go ahead and type, but we can actually try to get your microphone going because that's a good thing to do.
Okay.
But go ahead and ask your chat. Or
Bob, I could hear her. You can't hear me.
I can hear you.
yeah. Okay. Well, here, let's give this a shot, Nancy. This would be a good little lesson, maybe.
Yeah.
Go up to the top. At least for me, it's on the top left of my screen. I see the Zoom thing. I'm not sure. The new Windows might do it differently, but somewhere you should see the menu for Zoom, and you should see a menu for preferences under Zoom somewhere. So if you click on Zoom preferences,
I'm not getting that. Oh,
there you are. Is that you?
can you hear me now?
Yeah. No. I can and I can't.
All right, I'll ask you next time.
No, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
I was just asking how hard is it to manipulate PowerPoint if you were in full screen versus needing to go back a few slides or go forward? Is that difficult to do with Zoom?
Well, it's the same. It's like you're playing your normal PowerPoint. So the
Okay.
same way it would be normal is the same way there.
All right.
And again, this is high-tech stuff. The first level, the easiest thing to do is just bring up, again, share a screen and bring up Alan's Amazing Molecules, and you can actually play it for people.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
But if you do like to do presentations or whatever, you can do your own too. But that's like a second level of complexity. We don't recommend it for people unless they're wanting to do it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for giving us your Saturday.
Oh, well, just a half hour. And
Yeah.
any other questions? And then we'll go ahead and enjoy our Memorial weekend. No? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Bye, Leslie. Bye, Jim.
Thank you.
Bye, Hugh.
Say hi to Trish.
Nancy. Okie dokie.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.